had a few guitar makers asking me about this jig. I've already done my 4 necks with this jig, so I can't show you it in action, but I can show you the gist of how it works. It's pretty basic. I had this made by my cousin who's a machinist, which is really handy. But it basically aligns all of my holes for my neck joint and where the bolts go, and makes them line up perfectly with the body and the neck. So here I'll show you a close-up of how it looks. This jig has a male and a female side. The female side fits on top of the tenon of the neck, and the male side fits into the mortise of the body. So these guide holes match perfectly to the neck and the body because they're both in the same place on this jig. Really handy. Also, the bushings that are in this aluminum jig are steel, and they are 1 inch deep, so they'll actually guide the drill bit perfectly straight. So the holes not only line up and down in the mortise and tenon, they also line up in terms of straightness as well. This guide bushing guides my drill bit to drill the hole for the aluminum rod that goes down the heel of my necks, and that aluminum rod is what the bolts actually thread into. So eventually I'll probably switch out the round aluminum rods to like a square stock, just because you could actually put a lot more pressure on that type of rod that goes into the heel without the heel splitting than a round rod. I don't see there being an issue with the round rod, but to make them foolproof, I'll probably end up doing a square mortise and then threading holes into the square. But for now, this is working great, and this is what my jig is set up for. So I'll show you on the body and the neck how this works. I guess it's important to note that this jig is made to perfectly match my mortise and tenon routing jig. So if you look at my video of making a mortise and tenon bolt-on neck, you'll see how this fits with it. These basically are the perfect dimensions for my mortise and tenon. So when I put them in, they lock, there's no wiggle, it's solid in there. So here I am. This I'll clamp into place. The nice thing about this jig is if you have a neck that's angled back more, like my Ember series, you can actually make it match any angled neck. So I would clamp this in place just roughly, and then it's not going to go anywhere, and it's against the neck here, so I know these holes are in the right spot. I can drill down there. It's best to drill this hole first, I find, just because then I can drill these holes until I go through into this hole. Pretty easy to know when to stop. So this is for the aluminum rod, and by clamping it down like this, this hole will follow this heel perfectly. It's not going to end up down into the neck tenon or coming out the heel sideways or in the back. So this is really nice. It keeps it nice and lined up straight down the heel, and obviously I do this before putting a heel cap on because the heel cap's going to cover this hole on the other side. That's it for the neck portion of this. 1/4 inch bit goes into here and into the hole that's drilled here, and on the body side it's going to match of course this reference edge here. When this is up against the neck, the distance from here to these holes is going to be matching the distance if I butt it up on the body in the same spot here. So I'll show you what I do on the body. So on the body it's the same idea. I mean, this jig fits pretty tightly in there, which is nice because it's not going to move around once it's in there. This is a bit too tight. There we go. So tight down there. Oh yeah, and this, with my Ember series, the neck is actually up, so I would actually put a shim behind here to keep the holes 5 millimeters up from the top surface. But basically this is, on the body, it's only lining up the holes that go through the heel block. So now I can drill these holes here and they'll match perfectly with the ones on my neck, and they'll be lined up perfectly with the ones on my neck as long as this jig is flat against the side here. So it's a really simple jig, really easy to use, and I highly recommend it if you're going to do bolt-on necks. It makes everything line up so much nicer and more easily, and I think it just makes sense. It's accurate, and if you can find a machinist to make something like this, it's worth its weight in gold. Yeah, highly recommend it. I think Elevate Lutherie sells something similar actually. This I had made a couple years ago, but I would imagine, I mean, theirs is, I think, the same principle with adjustable locator pins for where you want to drill your holes into the body and into the neck. So they might be worth checking out. Otherwise, yeah, you can get a machinist to make something similar, and it works like a dream. If you have any questions about the jig or how it works, just let me know in the comments and I can answer your questions. I hope you found this helpful, and maybe it'll help you get perfect alignment in your neck joint bolts and stuff like that. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and if you have any other topics you want to hear about, let me know in the comments, and maybe I can do some more videos that are geared towards your questions. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.